Good morning, everyone. Go over a little bit of a swing trade I did last night. One of them went well, the other one not so much. So this is what my chart looked like yesterday, market close. I was thinking if we break below here, we'd have a nice move down. So I opened a couple contracts with a 20 tick trailing stop. You can see I got filled on the short, came down, I'm sure there's 20 tick move here. Yeah, see, look at that, 20 ticks from the low of that wick. So that's where I got stopped out. Went pretty well though. 3 contracts, so it ended up being almost 750 bucks. And then I had another one here because I was looking at the levels earlier. I was thinking, okay, if we come up to this area, we will probably reject because there's a lot of volume. I figured we might consolidate and then come down, which is what we did, but I think I had my trailing stop a little too tight. So I got filled, got stopped out. I only did 2, and you can see I got filled on my 2 shorts. One $10 profit, one $5 loss. So after commissions, still lost money on that. That's okay. So now coming into today, we're almost at half an hour after market open, and this is where we're at. So coming into this, I'd like to draw me some lines because that's what I do. Try to create some trends to trade. So looking at this, I know that the market opens 6:30 my time, which is about here. We get a lot of volatility, so I don't really take the wicks into consideration for that because there's so much price movement and volatility that I like to use the ones formed before this volatility and then the ones formed after about now, spend half an hour after market opened, at least a New York stock exchange market. So at this point, here's what I'm looking at. I see this trend that we're beginning to bounce off of. There's 2 things I'd look for here. There's a possibility that we could bounce up. It's looking to me a little bit like we are forming a bit of a bull flag here. I'm not going to draw that because it's very weak, but that's what I'm looking at. What I do see here is that we broke out above a pretty good resistance level here, came right back down. So now I'm thinking we're probably going to find some volume here, maybe break down for a little bit higher low before breaking up. So what I will do now is trail a short because I'm thinking we'll probably come up here, come back down for another test of this. So I will trail from the bottom so that way I ensure a fill. Do 3 contracts. What I'm doing, I'm filled on all 3. So what I like to do is keep my entries a couple points away from the current price, because that way if we have a good pulse up, I can move them up and then be good to go. So right now, so I'm on a short. I don't have a stop, and I always tell people always have a stop, but I sometimes don't like to. That's why I just keep my eyes on this flatten button. Looking at it, let me turn the trading off. Visual trading. Turn that off. So I see we have a wick here. I would think this area would be the high, which is about 7.2. So to be safe, place my stops there. So let's see what happens. One thing that I'm always doing is, as soon as possible, stops and profit. So 1, 2, 3. Got my stops and profit. I apologize for the beeps. Trail them down. Trail them down. Ayo. This is how I scalp. And see, I'm keeping them closer now. There we go. I'm at them all. Well, sorry, lots of beeps there, but there we go. That was a almost $1,000 trade. You can see I sold 3 contracts, 365, 305, 275, 3 contracts. Not a bad trade there. Did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Came down. And again, this is very short-term thinking. I'm not worried about where the market's going. I'm worried about what's happening in the next candle or 2. So we came to this level that I was thinking. I didn't draw a line or anything because But, it's not. I only like to draw lines on for longer time frames. I mean, I can clearly see that is an area where the price couldn't break through. We did break through it. If I was trading earlier, I probably would have made the mistake of trying to play a bounce back in this area as a breakthrough and retest. But that's why I like to stay out the first couple candles, because there's just a lot of volatility there. And now, exactly what I was thinking is going to happen happened. We broke down, created a higher low before another retest. Now, because we have so much buying pressure, if I was aggressively scalping, I might have tried to long this, because I'm thinking now we're going to break above this because we have so much buying pressure. Maybe we'll get another candle before we go above, but at this point, bullish side of things. So what I like to do in situations like this is stay out for a while. I mean, I could try to short it again here, again with stops above this, but right now I don't like it as much. Necessarily have a reason why. It's just trades I like to stay out of. I like to only do trades that I am interested in taking. For some reason right now I just don't like it as much. We have a huge candle. When you have two big candles like this, they end up looking like a doji on a higher time frame. 5-minute chart, that's a terrible example, but they kind of act like a doji when you have, I mean, I guess that's just a bullish engulfing candle. Now maybe because we didn't break through, we're finding some resistance here. I might be interested in shorting it again. I like to sometimes draw what I'd consider a weak trend line, which is very short time frame trend line for bounce levels, so maybe short it again here, which would be again top here. Let's try it. But what I'm going to do is trail it a little bit further away, because if we break through here, keep away from the price. If we break through this line that I have here, I want to stay out of the trade. So happens if we get, like I said, I think if we get a good push here, yeah, see, not liking it as much. Flatten the trade, breaking through, get rid of that line. Doesn't really mean anything now. Watch. See, there's the other way I could have played that, which is probably would have been better, is instead of playing the short down to the line, I could have played a long down here. But again, I'm not super concerned with it. As you can see in, what was that, between 58 and a minute and a half, almost $1,000. I'm not super concerned with that. Sorry for the ranting. I'm just kind of live trading here. A lot of people have been asking for it. Let's see if we see anything else. One thing I might be interested in doing is doing a short here at a double top, but again, because of when it's happening right at open, I don't think that this top is a very strong level. We're coming up to 15,000, which may or may not be a strong resistance level for NQ. I'm thinking it won't be. I think we're probably going to consolidate here a little bit, break above. I'll show you some of the other lines that I have drawn. If we go to like a 30-minute chart, this is what my chart looks like now. I have this lower channel that we almost hit here. I have this upper channel. So you can see we're trading in this upper channel here. Longer term moves, my personal rule is never trade in the middle of a channel for a long-term trade. I don't really trade that way with futures, but if I'm looking at options, only trade when you're at the upper area or the lower area of a channel. If you trade in the middle, it's a little bit harder to detect the movement of how it's going to move. So coming up here, about to hit this line, which kind of coincides with this 15,000 level. Might be some good resistance, but I'm thinking it won't be. So I guess we'll see here together. And you can see if I would have tried to play a double top here, clearly, even if I tried to play it, I would have had to have, 20 tick stop, which isn't terrible, but happens here. Again, I trade on a 2-minute chart. I had someone with a question on how to show levels. If you right click on your chart and go to settings, you can go to visual trading, I believe. No, it's not. It is price scale. You can set day high low. That's where this high and low, you can turn that on and off, change the colors. You can put on previous close, put on price limits. I actually don't know what that is. Yeah, there was a guy that's had a question about how to show that. I think he was asking about how to show the spread, like the bid and the ask. I do not know if you can chart the bid and the ask. I do not think that you can put it on your chart, the bid and the ask, which I wouldn't want to do anyway because it would just have a bunch of lines that are very tight together. It'd be harder to see what's going on here. Now I'd be looking at maybe long in here because it's coming back to this level. This will be kind of a break and a retest. Again, I try to keep my entries away from the price a little bit because if we break through with a lot of volume, I'd rather be out of the trade. So now I'm in, and I could put a stop down here, but I'm going to wait because a lot of times we'll get enough movement to where I can at least get a couple dollars profit. And if we start to come down in this area, I'd normally just hit the flatten button, but we're good. Oh, got filled on one. Trim two there because I feel like there's a risky trade. I'd rather get out. And now I'll trail for a profit on a couple. Like I said, 60 bucks on two of those, 70 on the last. Could have held it longer. But again, money moves so quick in this. If we get a big fat red candle down, I'd rather make, 200 bucks than lose even faster, even more. So that's a lot of people will see I trade a lot of contracts. That's because when I'm scalping, almost as soon as I can, like as soon as I have, if my entry is down here, if this is my entry, as soon as I have 2 or 3 points, enough room where I can put my stops in profit and let it ride a little bit, I will do it as soon as possible. Which means I end up with a lot of trades, but every trade, even if I'm only 3 points in profit, that's 60 bucks. So the money moves quick. So I'm more concerned with putting a stop in profit, making sure that I guarantee profit, and then if I can, let it run a little bit. Like this trade, I probably could have held on to longer, but have a retest. Sometimes when we retest a level, breakthrough, we have a wick retest and it just shoots back up. Sometimes we consolidate a little bit, but I would rather get a little over $1,000 so far in 12-13 minutes. So there you go. If you have any questions, let me know.